Just gonna give it a few minutes as always. How's it going? Kitty, long time no see. My apologies for. I know you joined a month on the VIP. There was not a lot of action. I'm trying to be back in full force. I am doing better lately. Trading more, posting more analysis and whatnot. Oh, okay. No, and actually, I mean, just so people know, is yes, I post trades and whatnot. It's whatever I trade, I post it. Is I don't I used to actually like trade stuff that I didn't post, but then I got confused on my logs. Why did I take that? I mean, why did I post or not? To keep the stats on, and I just started posting everything that I trade. Regardless, it's not a lot. So, but yeah, a lot of the VIP room is just for people to ask questions and learn the methodology and why stuff happens and how can we foresee it in the future. What's up, Kelvin? I know that's Fire Spitter. What's up, man? We're gonna be giving a few minutes, but you know how it goes. 5 minutes in, and we start because we're gonna look at a lot of stuff. It's actually quick, but it's just a lot of stuff that I think is gonna play a force in the markets soon, very soon. Giving kid a back. All right. Yeah, you can listen and still get a grasp of what I'm doing. But yeah, how was your trading day, guys? By the way, did you guys catch anything? I'll tell you on my trading day. Uh, I went short Microsoft, which I paid out, not a lot, but there was a lot better plays out there, and some Meta, which I'm swinging. I think I'm wrong, probably, judging by the close and everything. And we'll see. I mean, we don't know until tomorrow, right? And we have PPI tomorrow, I believe. We can switch things right away. So that one I'm swinging in at a loss right now. Probably it's kind of lowish, right? You don't swing weeklies, but that's what I have right now. And I booked some profits on a firm, FRM. That was good from prior day. And some lot of spy. I tried SPX puts. I closed that for like 30% or so. It was an okayish win, but I expected more. That's why I went in like closer to the money and whatnot instead of a lotto trade. And then I took some spy put lotto trades because there was a big opportunity to break to the downside, but the market had another idea, right? And I'll go over a little bit of what happened. I don't like to do hindsight trading, but we do have to analyze what happened today. What were the possibilities and what could have been the intentions of the market. Says Dr. Says caught me a quick GME scalp, missed out on earlier day because of chiropractor. And yeah, and actually, a lot of small caps ran today. They were poised to that kind of went with a firm because of the small caps theory going long, but also your upstart earnings, right? And everything sparked to the upside. And upside, I mean, a lot of the market sparked to the upside. Very few things were right on the day. Um, we do have energy. I think energy stayed down, went down a lot with because of Devon earnings. Oxy came down a lot, but then recovered some. So a lot of stuff happened, right? We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. No, Oxy did not recover. I'm sorry. There was a big drop on Oxy. So there was, I mean, there's things to short and there's things to go long, right? Um, but we'll see. We'll start right now. 5 minutes in. Oxy had double inside day. Let me see. I had one that it broke to the upside, but no double inside day. Just that one, but no. That was such a great mover out of Devon earnings. That was such a great mover though. I missed that. I wasn't looking at energy today at all. So let's start. Um, so right here. All right. So right here. Today's candle. This is today's candle, right? I kind of ignored this one, which is after hours right now. Was it's basically an inside candle, and after hours already broke to the upside. We still have to see the cash market, which is SPX, and we still have to see SPX if it's gonna break to the upside or not. But that's a long setup, right? That's a long setup that plays this high in place, right? That we can reach this high or whatnot. Like I will still take it level by level, which is gonna be some kind of resistance around this area, right? Because of this candle, daily candle close and high, and also but yeah, an inside candle you kind of wanna, once it breaks to the upside, you're gonna wanna target the outside candle of it. But thinking back, like this is not existing, and we have this candle like this. When you're trading inside a range of the prior day, and it is very large, uh, when you are, because let's take it just a fifth tool to measure the move, right? Just so a measurement. This is not a favorite tracement that you should be using, right? But just as a favorite tracement, the range is this. We're gonna get rid of this. We're just gonna put it on, let's say on blue dash lines. Boom. Get rid of the fibs. All right. So basically, this is the middle of the range right here, and the market, whenever you're inside the prior day range, whenever, that's why I just want to explain myself why you take some lot of puts or some puts to the downside, is because the market is closer at this point to break into the lows of this point, right? Because it's rare to have an inside day. We did end up having it, but it's rare to have it. So at this point, it's closer to break this point than it's closer to break that point, right? And that's why there's an opportunity, a good risk reward to short into this, possibly this area right here. Did not work, obviously. Market had another idea on it, but now we have this, right? So basically, we have a break of the uptrend, which this candle did break the uptrend. CPI kind of messed it around a little bit with the upside, but on the daily chart, there was no confirmation, even though we broke it to the upside, right? There was no daily candle close. Now we have it. So now this daily candle does have it. This daily candle closed above it. And if you look at something like SPX, same idea, right? Same idea. You got this downtrend on the daily. And basically, there was no daily candle close below it. There was no confirmation to the break of this uptrend, downtrend line of this highs until daily candle closes above it. So now that we have it, like right here is very well seen. Now that we have it, it's party on for the bulls. Everything is pointing for the upside on that end. You can see that we kind of rejected. If I go down to the hourly, oh, never mind. It's not well adjusted. You have to see it on the daily. Anyway, so that's what we have, right? We still have to see tomorrow on the cash market, which is SPX, to see if we're gonna have a break of this inside candle to the upside or to the downside. Keep in mind that that's a reason to be bullish, right? That's a reason to be bullish. I think that we have to pay attention a lot to what happens to our side if we end up having like a breakout candle, right? If we end up having a daily candle that is something like this, what would happen to RSI at that point? You will expect this RSI to be around this area right here, higher than this point at least, right? If we don't end up having a candle like that, maybe a candle like this, maybe a little bit of another candle like this for Friday, whatever it is, right? Continuation higher. We still have to want to see the daily RSI about that it doesn't have a divergence, that the highs of this point is higher than this, if you're higher than that, and if you're the higher than this point, if you're higher than that, right? If you break the high right here. But that would be the most possible outcome. And remember that if you are looking at this on the weekly, uh, if you look at this on the weekly, which is this is a futures. If you look at this on the weekly, we have an inside candle on the weekly, and we have not break the upper end or the lower end of the weekly candle. Now let's use the same trading idea, right? Um, is seeing inside weekly candles is very rare. We have it. Now what happens with it, right? We can get some kind of setup out of it. So right now, uh, an inside candle is rare, and we have it on the weekly. Now a double inside candle is even more rare, so it may not happen, right? With the idea that it may not happen, then you cannot take a look at how many trading days are left. Thursday and Friday. What are we closer to the up then to the upper area than to the lower end, right? So most likely by before Friday we break into this high a little bit higher. You don't know if it's gonna go even more higher than this, right? You don't know if it's gonna go at just at one tick two, or actually break out even more, right? You just don't know, right? But the statistical probability of breaking this high is higher than the breaking this low, and the statistical probability of ending as a double inside candle is very rare. Anything can happen with PPI, but this is what, in fact, even though it's a setup, I will I will love I will love the market to have double inside candles on the weekly, right? Or in the daily too, because that would mean that the more inside you go, the more range expansion you're gonna have, more points you're gonna travel, right? So, and then we have OPEX. We have OPEX. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at any gamma charts, so it's gonna be huge. What's gonna happen for this Friday? I don't I don't want to get caught up in the whole idea of max pains for OPEX and whatnot, because we know that the markets, I mean, they're changing constantly, and the especially because of zero DTs, and I missed some more new opportunities before just because I believe that OPEX is gonna do something else, right? But just to keep in mind, uh, a little bit below SPY 413 is the max pain, I believe. So a little bit around this area right here, which will be around the consolidation before they push higher at the end of the day. So that's basically, if you look at ES, it's going to be around 4150 or 4145, around that area, right? So we, technical speaking, is telling me that we can go higher. OPEX is telling me that we can get stuck, so we'll see what happens, right? Uh, so we have a plenty of bullish points right now. Now let's look at the bearish points, because it's easy to forget that there can also be bearish retracements, which is, you always want to take a look. No, not really. We cleared the 618 of this last leg lower. Yeah, no, this is looking bullish. Uh, I think the only bearish point will be that OPEX has maybe have a play on this, you know, may have a play on this in the future. But this will be the main resistance that I will use. Let me look at this real quick. All right, right here. Yeah, main areas to, if we start breaking higher, are gonna be on futures. If you want to write it down, it's gonna be 4167, 4168 or so, 4160, 4180, 8650, and 4195, 91. So 4196. Roughly 4196. That's those are areas, and just to let you know, like once if we end up pushing higher, those are levels of interest because of the peaks that we have right here. And we also have a level of this line right here. Let me show you this one right here. Yeah, for this peak, bottom consolidation area for this lows, so plenty of levels right here. This peak right here, roughly, and this will actually consider an area, right? So you can see why we stop at that peak because of this one right here. So just gonna acknowledge those. This is an area because it's very close to get together, right? So if you look at the hourly, it will be this right here, right? This right here. Now, not everything goes in a straight line. I guess we have to talk a little bit about the structure on the volume profile, which is this right here. Right here. This is today's session. Just this part right here. And if you notice, the highest price contract was this level right here, which is 41.33 or so. This volume knot is it's another peak that we have right here, but it did not represent the BPOC, right? So that's not good. I think. I mean, in my opinion, this is stuff that when you have like not so strong of a structure right here, um, you know, this is gonna this can basically if we start fading, if we start trading lower, this doesn't have a lot of hold as much as this one right here. So this pick right here, right? So if we start losing this level, you can see straight flush into this one right here. So you start losing around the 41.50 or so. You can see somewhere around the 41.33s, and even then, that could be a buyback area for longs, right? That could be where the market can resume the upside, right? Once you go down to the daily, you can see like some candle that will have some kind of a little wick from wherever it opens, and then some kind of big candle like this, right? Because it will drop to the volume to the BPOC and bounce. So that's the whole idea. We'll see what happens. All right. So you're saying XOM had a double inside candle today and it dropped? I didn't have it on my radar, was it? Because that would have been money, man. Not really. It's one inside candle and drop into a daily 20. That's a setup, right? You break the inside candle and you take it all the way to a daily 20. You could actually target the lows of the day. I had a level right here. I don't know what it's for. I didn't even look at it today. Um, but yeah, you could have caught the bot. You could have shorted all the way to the bottom. Had seen that setup just into a daily 20. Boom. That's a good setup right there. I use those all the time. Says Ape Man. Ape Man is here. That's so weird. Haven't seen you in a long time, Ape Man. All right. Now let's look at NQ real quick. Now that we look at ES, let's look at NQ and see if we see any signs of bearishness or bullishness. And I can tell you right now that there's nothing bearish about this market, right? Clearing, we had a rejection of the 618, and the next day we clear with no problem. That's very bullish in itself. We do have a resistance right here. Let me look at this high right here. Yeah, this high is gonna be like an area high right here. Does the weekly tell us anything? Inside candle, we're very close to breaking the upper end of the weekly candle. So that's possible. That's the most likely outcome, that the NQ breaks that weekly inside candle to the upside. How far can it go? It's gonna be this is gonna be a tough resistance to go for, but we'll see what the market reacts to right here. We'll see what it's all about PPI as well, right? Not all about PPI, but we're gonna be heading into these areas with PPI on our hands, right? Now remember that 20% decline of all-time highs is up to this level right here. I'm gonna be expecting that in the future as we trade higher to be a potential resistance areas as we're gonna have some good trades if we get there. And I always like to refer that this chart, the NQ of the COVID lows to all-time highs bounce it cleanly, exactly at the 618 to the penny, right? Everybody remembers that day that we opened very low and then we make a bounce all day. And I like to say that if the market ends up trading higher in the future, I'm always gonna be looking at the inverse of that, which would be somewhere where the 50% retracement, which is this peak, either the market wants to turn around or the 618, right? Where the market turns around right here. So it's just stuff that I want to see in the future. Right now, everything is looking bullish for continuation going higher as per the technicals, right? We'll see what the fundamentals say on the other side, right? Whenever we have a PPI coming out. Um, Besides that, I mean, we also had a we gotta take a look at IWM because this is what has been driven a lot of the upside this market today. There was not a lot of there was some upside on the large caps, right? Tesla was up 2%, Apple up 1.39%, you know. But we still had some stuff that was down, which is the main stuff, right? Nvidia was down at 0.80%, Microsoft was down 1%, Boeing was down 0.46%, Meta 1.30%, you know. So definitely uh there's stuff that is running, there's stuff that is not. We don't I cannot pinpoint if this is some kind of rotation because to me a rotation will be something like healthcare going up while tech is going down, keeping the market up or sideways. But right now what I see is a lot of shit is floating, you know, and when the tide rises it brings up everything, right? It brings up all the ships. And we see meme stocks, you know. That's why you see IWM being as strong as it is, you know. Bounce of the daily 20, and we still see this downtrend that it broke, but I don't know if it's gonna be a test or not. You're still gonna see small caps is still struggling because we don't know if they're gonna turn around or not at their 618 right here. You know, it could be a little pop into a 618 and then drop. So you still have to be wary that the only thing that's not looking entirely bullish is the small caps, even though they had an amazing run today, right? But it's not that they're not looking bullish. They're looking bullish, but they have levels to clear that the other markets have cleared already, if it makes sense. Um, I think it's very bullish how it placed this low is bouncing like this, and I will say that I mean a lot of times the stuff like you know how CVNA is pumping like this or Roku. Well, Roku had earnings. Let's say PLTR, you know, stuff like this that is running. You know, remember that. I mean, a lot of the times they will run to, you know, drop back down later. I don't know. I'm being a little bit skeptical about all this rally. I just think that the is going into small caps like this is not the healthiest rotation for the market. But we'll take what we're given, right? We'll take what we're given. Uh, so next up, I just wanted to point out stuff like where the dollar is and what the potential is for this. So I was a little bit excited to the downside because I saw the dollar above the daily 50 MA earlier today. We did not get a close, and I think this rejection, and we ever have a final close about the daily 50, it's gonna mean that the dollar is gonna be going higher and higher, right? So it's gonna probably break onto this highs right here at least. If we end up having a daily candle close above it, that will put selling pressure into the market, and that's what I'm looking for, you know, for a possible scenario. If it end up happening, I thought today could be the one, right? But it did not happen. If we ended up closing below it, and I keep an eye on this favorite retracement, which is basically like around the 618, 6.5. We declare, like I said, but there's no if there's no candle close, there's nothing on it. Nothing for me. And you can see it on the 5 minute. We spent a lot of time above it. We just didn't manage to close the candle right at the end. So so something to look for, right? And this is where the daily candle closes right here. We'll see what it does in the future, and if that ends up happening, that's gonna be selling pressure for the market. So I always keep an eye on that. We also have yields going higher, and that's an undeniable thing. It's an undeniable thing. So I'm a little conflicted on this because higher yields uh, will affect tech, but will also help banks, right? And I have to remember that for a time, and this may be back, I don't know, that when bonds, let me pull the 10-year bonds, when bonds they used to be the point where bonds, uh, they, whenever they go down, the market goes up, right? Because the money leaving bonds into going into stocks. So we kind of had that correlation today. Bonds were dropping today. They were bringing yields up, right? But they did not bring the market down. So maybe we're having back into the correlation. But I like to say that we're bouncing off of this support that we have right here, off of this low right here. So if we end up having a bounce on the market, this is where I'm conflicted, right? If we end up having a bounce of bonds, we are gonna have yields coming down. That's gonna be bullish for the market, but money flowing into bonds and not into stocks is not gonna be bullish into the market. So a little bit of conflict right there, and I have to do a little more research to see where my head is at on that regard. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Um, that's all I got. That's all I got on that regard. I think those are the only bearish thesis that I have, which is the yields on the dollar. Other than that, everything is pointing to higher for tomorrow. At least, at least to break those inside candles, right? We have to go level by level, which is this is gonna be a level, right? We have to see how it resolves. We have to see. It will be much very healthy for the market to go down into the BPOC and bounce, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Any questions? Any suggestions? Throw them at me. Any questions about the daily charts of what? One of the things that I'm gonna keep in mind and a lot it's gonna be a daily RSI once we get to if we end up pushing higher. If we end up pushing higher, our daily RSI divergence is gonna be playing a huge role, right? If we don't see divergence, then we have to bet higher. We just have to bet higher than what it is. It's a lot of opportunity out there because especially for credit sellers. I have a friend that is madly selling puts right now. I don't have the source. I have a friend that follows this stuff, and I have Carl Icahn had a position and puts on ES, and let me see. And I'm seeing that supposedly. Let me look it up real quick. Supposedly, Carl Icahn bought March 39.50 puts. March, I guess monthlies. Does he mean monthlies? What is the monthly expiration for March? Let me see on SPX. 17th of March. So let me look at ES real quick. I only see March 23rd. I'm yes, it's not telling me the. It just says March, but it's not telling me the date. I have to look around because I don't have the exact. Yeah, I don't have the exact date, but supposedly he bought 30 and 50 puts. Yeah, open interest now. It's gonna be tough. I'm not gonna be guessing which expiration. There's a lot of March expirations. So anyway, those are mostly. I mean, they had to be down because of the push that we're having. But I mean, Carl Icahn is expecting a full turnaround, and that will be in line with what we're seeing with the rates and what we're seeing with the dollar. We just have to see it in a more dramatic matter, you know, a higher matter than that. So I got a question right here. Let me see. March 17th. March. Yeah, I see that fire spitter. March 17th is the yeah. Fire spitters asking about the SPY monthly 20. Let's look at it. Oh, the lows are the monthly 20. It's already there. It's bouncing off of there, so it's looking good. You know, you're looking. If we do have a monthly breakout, we're looking at to have. I mean, here a lot of upside. In fact, I mean, because you have all this monthly consolidation, right? But obviously, those are monthly candles. But this is not a breakout until until it is, right? Until you have a monthly candle close about this whole area of those little wicks that you have. Possibly, this wick is gonna be a problem. But that's a far stretch, right? Monthly candles, huge ranges, and whatnot. I have a question about TSM. It says Dr. Seuss asking where do you get news on rates? I mean, you don't get the news. You just the bonds whenever they go lower, they have to pricing high returns on the interest rates. So you can check out the on like if you're on TOS, you can just type TMX, and that's how you come up with the 10-year yield. You know, you can just go to the CNBC website and type the what is the 2-year note at or the 10-year note at, and you'll see where's the yield curve at, and you can just type it on CNBC. On the you just Google a CNBC 10-year note or 10-year yield or a 2-year yield, and you'll find it. Um, I'm getting asked about on YouTube about TSM to the downside, uh, or to the host TSM for further downside. So we did get a closer below the daily 20. That is bearish that he could not reclaim it, having bounced off of it a little while ago. So um, this is honestly gonna be bearish until you cross the 90s. Until you cross the 90s, and you can see why, because the consolidation that it created at this point is based off the 90 lows right here. You know, you can probably see the strength of the 90s level to the left on the weekly. Yeah, it's not. Look at this. At least this consolidation area right here, which is the 91, 92s, 92s, 91s. You actually want to see, you know, for further confirmation. Because let me see what happened intraday. Yeah, that was not that bearish at all, man. I think keep an eye on this EMA right here, which is a 1550 EMA. But this should have had continuation lower after this rejection, and it did not have it. So there's a little bit of lack of sellers right there. That was mostly a news move, by the way. See you, Apeman. Thank you for coming by. All right. Any ticker suggestions or something you guys want me to look at? If not, well, I'll just give you a little bit of a. Okay, I got one right here. PayPal. Let's look at PayPal. Okay, PayPal did not enjoy that much of an upside right now, and I actually traded PayPal today. I did not post it. Um, I went long right here. I saw it hesitated on this candle, and I got out. Break even. It went a little higher, and I think, I mean, I was seeing that it was struggling a little bit to go up in trading against this low right here. So I didn't want to see. I didn't want to be caught up on it, right? If it wasn't gonna work, and you ended up rejecting right here. So not everything is bullish on the market, like I said, and this one is not looking bullish at the moment. I mean, it could be the start of the uptrend because you're not continuing going lower. You're holding this support right here. Everything's going fine on that area. You're holding up to this support right here. So that's very bullish off of this lows right here. You know, and as per, if it can go higher, you will have to look at something like the hourly for some kind of trend break because this is holding down a trend right here. So I'm not sure if it's best seen on the. Yeah, it's good right here. It's probably best seen on the daily, but that's when you see the real meat in the juice, meat in the bone, right? The real juice in the fruit, whatever. The real juice of the squeeze, right? Whenever you see a break of the option, which is still being rejected, right? Um, yeah, it's gonna be a little. Yeah, until you have a break of the option off of this trend line right here. And then you reclaim the daily 20. This one has a lot more work than the, let's say, other charts that are already doing bullishness. It's not looking that bullish at the moment. Now look at PayPal. I like to look at Square. Look at Square. Look at Square how it's doing a lot different right here. Right? Uh, Square with, you know, doing a lot better, but obviously have to look at the bearish retracements before jumping into conclusions. But that's how you reclaim the daily 20s for a continuation going higher into the next day right here. It's a very textbook play right here. Reclaim, the next day holds it as a low and boom to the highs. But we'll still have to see about this one right here on Square. Yeah, Remy, it's on YouTube. It's on the link. You can see it on the link is posted over there, and you can go back to it whenever you want. Uh, it's so sure is calling for Tesla. See, people are saying 230. Another short. What's your take on it? Let me see. Tesla. Tesla mega bullish candle today. It closed about this selling area. I think it can go higher based on this. It is diverging. Let me tell you that there's a divergence on it right here. That's a bearish point right here. You know, this high being high about equal. I mean, it's a slightly lower high. The price going higher right here and the lower RSI just not does not indicate bullishness. That's our reasons to sell it. Um, Let me see if I can get a better perspective without so many fucking lines. I'm sorry. This Tesla requires a lot of lines. So this is bullish. This is bullish that if a weekly candle rejects, you know, and the next weekly candle holds and engulfs the whole other candle like it's a shooting star and you engulf it, you know, basically what could have been a bearish pattern right here to the downside ended up getting reversed at the next week. Then it means that you could still have another weekly candle for going higher, and you have at least a 220 for the upside with the weekly 2050 EMA right here, the weekly 50 right here, which has been a bounce back point in the future. It could be a rejection point on the future as well, right? Um, if that gets clear, I could see Tesla going into the next resistance, which could be, I mean, Don't quote me on this, but it's 229.52, so 230. 230. So level by level, like I said, you have to clear this, which I already did. This last weekly high. I think it's room to 220. If 220 clears, it has room to 230. You know, that's bullish. When you see a failed pattern to the one side, let's say bullish or bearish, the pattern is failed, then it has a lot of strength to the other side, right? So meaning that this was a pattern to the downside, it fails, it doesn't go lower, bounces at the weekly 20, boom, higher. So that's my take on it. I think it's looking bullish. It's the only thing that you have to watch out for is that divergence on the daily. That doesn't help you on the bullish case right here. All right. It is recorded. All right. Any other questions, suggestions for the next day? I think since everything is bullish, I'd just like to talk about a few bearish trades, which is Microsoft. No, not really that bearish. Microsoft not bearish. Not with this daily candle. It was bearish with this daily candle opening lower, going lower, but we still have this gap to fill, which is not filling. Maybe later in the future, but apparently not soon enough. You'll have to see this daily candle red like today. Today is red by 1%, but you would like to see it a very bearish bear candle for continuation going lower. And then we also have Meta. Meta, I do like it for the downside. This one is actually playable both sides. I think Meta is gonna have a huge range if it ends up if it opens about the today's highs. So it's good to place an alert right here. It's good to place an alert right here. And if it breaks that high, then you'll be looking at a very nice daily candle into possibly like the 185 at least, 185 on Meta to the upside. If we end up having a bearish opening tomorrow, if you open below the lows, then you can possibly target 172 or 169, 170 to the downside because it will be just a retracement, right? A pullback, not exactly like the worst ending for Meta, but something that could pull it back down to the daily 20 and maybe a bounce right there. But that's a good target. So Remy says, so everything's going up. Anyone can analyze the Bitcoin upward trend. It rose 3K. You mean it rose 3K in profits? I haven't charted Bitcoin in a long time. It's funny. I haven't even seen this chart in a long time when I end up having a support at the lows, right? It always happens. It was somewhere around this area that was drawing this level. Obviously, a huge breakout. That this actually broke the last weekly high, going higher. I will say that the next, I have a line right here. I don't know why. I don't see anything on it. Probably somewhere in the weekly. You do have a gap right here on the futures market because I know Bitcoin doesn't close ever, but the futures do. And that could be a resistance area, possible targets to go for. We do see a massive divergence, and this is pretty big. This is pretty big, This is basically RSI telling you that to not trust this rally right here. I don't want to be... I could be wrong, guys. I could be wrong, but this is not looking healthy. This is no bueno. Look at how weak this is. Didn't even enter oversold area, that's just weakness right here. The YouTube link is right here. Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't be trustful of that rally, to be honest. I had my experiences with Bitcoin divergences on the other side, and it can the only issue with this, it can with divergences is that you never know when that thing is gonna actually play out. They can diverge, it's still going higher on divergence and go higher in divergence, and then eventually it falls down on its face and he goes down pretty hard. But you just catching the turnaround of divergences, it's hard. It's whenever you see something like this, if you're long, you have to be with one foot out, or or with uh, very worried that they could drop. Very nice, Remy. Very nice. So yeah, I don't know about the. I mean, it doesn't indicate any bearishness, to be honest. Not really. Those are some solid weekly candles right here. If it manages to stay here until Friday, uh, just I'm concerned about the divergence on the daily only, because if you look at the weekly, this is working perfectly, right? Your weekly, it has a higher price than this, and you have a weekly divergence that's good. So Bitcoin is doing good right here on the weekly, but you just have to remember stuff like this. We're going back to 2021, where it was going higher. You see a divergence right here from this point right here to this point. It was divergent, and it's still going higher, right? And this point to this point, it was still divergent and still going higher. This point to this point is still divergent and still going higher. But you see this divergence play now over and over and over, and then boom, eventually you fall back down and repair all that, right? Essentially, all this too right here, higher, higher, high right here, divergence lower, boom, breakdown. But obviously, those divergences is just you just don't know when they're gonna play out. They can still be going higher. I mean, you're talking about a divergence playing out from the peak of 42K all the way to 65. So it's a lot of gains that you can have in between. If you try to short this since here, you're gonna lose a lot of money. So uh, well, you tell that it's getting weaker if as it's placing higher, the RSI is not going higher, right? It's actually going lower. That's how you tell it's weak. That right now the weekly on Bitcoin is looking good. Just on the daily, you know. And that's up to your judgment if the weekly is the one that you care for, or or the uh, or the daily, right? I think that's about it. I think that's about it. I think I'm gonna stop right here, and just thank you all for coming, passing by to my analysis for the market. I hope we can find some good trades out of it. See what we can do with it. Like I said, how everything's still pointing to the upside. We'll see what happens level by level, guys. We pointed out what the levels are on the ES, and we'll trade accordingly as it goes. Appreciate your time, guys. Thank you for coming by. Cubito out.